Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about blasting stainless steel. Okay, so the first thing we need to talk about is actual stainless steel. Stainless steel is not completely resistant to rust, but it is much more resistant than standard mild steel alloys. Stainless steel is defined as steel with a 11.5% chromium content, which gives it the stainless, not stain proof, but stainless to typical stains, rust, and corrosion. The most popular thing I see that people say, oh, stainless steel rust. I see it happen all the time. What happens is typically the metal gets contaminated by another steel. Either they were using a grinder that they just used on carbon steel and they grinded a little spot, or they're throwing sparks on top of the stainless or welding near it, and some of the weld slag bounced off and BBs got on the stainless, so that caused contamination, which then basically just causes a bad spot in the steel and it starts to rust from there. So when you're doing your stainless blasting, you need to take that into account. That means you can't use anything that isn't, I want to say organic, but anything that's not mineral based, meaning it doesn't have any kind of metal or high metal content in it. So no copper slag, no steel shot, no aluminum oxide, nothing like that. The other thing you want to look at is stainless doesn't darken as bad as some steels, but if you want a white finish, you're not going to be able to use coal slag because it's black and it's going to turn whatever steel you blast with it black. Typically, stainless steel is a fairly clean surface from the start, so you're just roughing it up so you can apply something to it. So your customer is going to want to see that white finish, which stainless does finish a little bit whiter than typical steel just because it's already a fairly clean metal. So you're going to want to stick to glass bead, plastic bead. That plastic bead's not going to work very good because it's not very hard. Your organics, your walnuts, your corn cob's not going to work, but your walnuts, your pecan shells, things like that. Or you can use garnet. Garnet's red. It may leave a little bit of a finish color on it, but it should wipe right off. For the most part, any of your organics or your mineral based are going to be fine on stainless steel. Make sure you sift out your steel. Your grit, whatever you're using. I have seen it in the past, and I've seen it quite commonly that there will be small pieces of the wire mesh that they use to sort out the grit sizes with. It looks like a staple. If that's in there and you're blasting stainless, you just contaminated the steel. So stainless is something you have to be a lot more precautious with because it's a very particular steel. It's got a specific purpose and you don't want to mess it up by contaminating the surface. So make sure when you're picking out whatever kind of grit, abrasive material you're using the right stuff. Don't go to somebody's property. They want you to blast their stainless steel and you use aluminum oxide or steel shot because you just ruined their entire project. Make sure you use the proper material. Stainless is one of those things that's kind of weather doesn't really matter with it because it's not going to rust instantly like a regular carbon steel would. It'll act a little bit more, not quite as much like aluminum, but it will act a little bit more like aluminum, where if you blast it and it starts to haze or it starts to rain, it's not going to instantly rust up on you. It might over a little bit of time if you have contaminants in the air, like I said, somebody's grinding next to you or whatever. It's got full open pores. I say pores. It's got a full open surface readily available for anything to get in there and contaminate it. So make sure you're being a little bit extra cautious with your stainless steel. We've blasted quite a bit of stainless steel, so make sure that when you're doing stainless, make sure that you're really watching for what you're doing and being careful. As far as how does it blast? Stainless blasts like anything else. It reacts a lot like carbon steel. It doesn't take any longer. You do have to be a little bit more careful just so you make it nice and even, but for the most part, it blasts just like carbon steel. You really don't have to worry about it that much. So moving forward, if you're going to blast some stainless, keep all those things in mind. I hope this helped, and if you want to learn more, hit the little subscribe button hit the bell so it reminds you when we post a new video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.